Welcome to man's desire for control and passion for ritual. A study of Francisco Goya and Theodore Gericault. Francisco Goya, born Francisco José de Goya y Lucientes, on March 30th, 1746, in Fuendetodo, Spain. He was the son of master gilder José Benito de Goya y Franca, who played a significant role in Goya's early life by providing support and stability, as well as a creative environment, as Goya's parents valued education and craftsmanship. Goya's earlier works are characterized by vibrant colors, vitality, movement, and depictions of everyday life in Spain. The Hunting Party, painted as a series of 9 tapestries to decorate the halls of the Escorial in Madrid, Spain, shows a lively scene in which Goya creates balance and movement through a triangular composition with deeply saturated colors in the foreground and a seamless blending of more natural earthy tones in the background. Goya's use of light and shadow adds depth and volume to the scene. The scene on the surface shows man in harmony with nature, enjoying the privileged life of the upper class, but is rooted in man's desire to conquer and dominate, and may be a subtle critique by Goya and a foreshadowing of Goya's shift from painting idyllic daily life of the upper class to his later blatant critique of the royal family and Catholic Church and their abuses of power, hypocrisy, and corruption. In the bull ring, one sees the true nature of man, both his courage and his brutality. Goya's relationship with Spain's most celebrated sport is complex. On one hand, Goya was a great admirer of bullfighting, which is reflected passionately in his artwork. On the other hand, he honestly critiqued the sport for its brutality and cruelty to animals, as Goya was one of the first artists to depict bullfighting in a less celebratory and more honest light. Goya captures the raw, visceral reality of bullfighting. In the center, our eyes are drawn to the bold, saturated yellow and reds. The expressive brushstrokes lend themselves to a sense of chaos and intensity. The background is large, but muted colors and the small faceless figures continue to push our eye back to the center figures. Goya uses diagonal lines to further move the viewer's eye through the painting, specifically the picador's spear, pointing directly at the bull, adding to the instability and tension of the scene. The bull, even though he is wounded, stands proudly and bravely against the men who ritualistically aim to slaughter him. Does Goya see the bull's resistance as a metaphor for the people of Spain, with their ability to endure against the church's corruption and complacency during the Peninsular Wars? Why is the picador more prominent than the matador? Does the picador represent the church and the institutional powers that exert their control over the citizens of Spain? And the matador, almost in the shadows, cowering behind the picador's horse, does he represent the king, who seemingly wields less power than the church? Theodore Gericault, born Jean-Louis André Theodore Gericault in Rouen, France on September 26, 1791. With his mother's passing around the age of 16 and his grandmother only 4 years later, his early years were marked by tragedy. He found solace in his artwork, and he developed an aptitude for capturing animal movement, specifically with horses. Early on, Gericault was fascinated by horses. In Horse Frightened by Lightning on the left, rather than paint the cliched image of a horse rearing up in fear, he masterfully imparts dramatic tension by the use of dark blues and blacks for the ominous stormy sky in the background, contrasted by the warm golden and brown hues, emphasizing the horse's frozen, fearful stance. The negative space creates a sense of vulnerability, which evokes empathy and creates an emotional response for the viewer. The painting on the right, called Head of Piebald Horse, captures his gentle expression with meticulous detail. The predominantly white horse is brought to life with dark accents and shadows, with the soft dark background allowing the horse's features to draw you in. I am disoriented and confused. I try in vain to find support. Nothing seems solid. Everything escapes me, deceives me. Theodore Gericault. Gericault struggled with depression and mental illness throughout his short life. Perhaps his affection and fascination for horses is partly derived from a horse's unique ability to sense and respond to human emotions. Their sensitivity and empathetic nature are often found to be therapeutic for many. It seems that Gericault, too, found solace in their company. Gericault's passion for painting horses continued throughout his life. Perhaps his mental struggles and vulnerability informed his strong yet fearful and empathetic portrayal of his horses. Although the palette and race of the riderless horses is muted, with only small hints of greens and blues, our eyes move due to the diagonal lines throughout the painting. Again, this creates a deep sense of tension and instability. The bright white accents of the horse in the center draws our eyes to the rearing, fearful horse, his straining muscles, his erratic, unsteady stance, and adds to the viewer's feeling of anxiety and tension. In both works, humans are engaged in struggles with powerful animals. Man's desire to control nature is the focal point of both paintings. Goya's, filled with saturated bright colors, is contrasted by Gericault's subdued earth tones. Diagonal lines create urgency, chaos, energy, and a feeling of instability. Goya's, through spears and placement of the participants leading our eye directly to the bull, and Gericault's, through dynamic poses of the horses' bodies and the handlers' legs. The diagonal, triangular compositions guide the viewer's eyes to the action while simultaneously maintaining balance amongst these frantic and lively spectacles of man's endless pursuit to dominate and control animals. Both Goya and Gericault invite the viewer to empathize with the men in these paintings through symbolism and metaphor. Goya's, on the surface, may seem like an homage to bullfighting or a social commentary on the cruelty of animals, but can also be seen as a symbol of resistance against the oppressive institutions of Spain, while Gericault's may depict, on a deeper level, mankind's intense efforts to go on living when struggling with physical and/or mental illness and the physical and emotional toll that can have on us. In conclusion, both artists used triangular compositions and diagonals to create movement and focal points. Both artists incorporate realism, Gericault with his attention to anatomical detail and accuracy, Goya through figures, posture, and placement. Their use of shadows and light create depth and a three-dimensional effect that adds volume and realism. Both artists, masters of capturing intense emotion and empathy, invite us to reflect on deeper themes of human existence, our own struggles, and the immense power of nature and society. Thank you.